Hello and welcome to your introduction to designing unique and appealing characters. I'll be your instructor. I'm Anna Davis Court. Nice to meet you. And I am so happy to be here today because characters are one of my all time favorite things to draw. I don't know about you, but when I'm faced with a blank canvas of any kind, I definitely drift towards drawing characters because they are just so much fun. So let's delve into a little bit about me. This is some of my work. I'm very proud to say that I am a full-time children's book illustrator. Haha, yay! I started at the Art Institute of Portland with an instructor named Lee White. I wonder where he came from. I was actually really lucky to find him in my life, and that's why I have a near and dear relationship to SBS, because if you don't know, he's an instructor here as well as one of the founders. And after I graduated, I got a job in concept art for video games, and I worked there for about 5 years. And I magically got this opportunity called the Adobe Creative Residency. If you don't know it, it's a program that Adobe runs where basically you can concentrate solely on your career growth for an entire year. And over that year, I was given access to a mentor, and I chose Lee White for that role. So he helped me a lot with getting an agent and working full time in children's books. Ever since the residency, I really have been working full time, and I am currently neck deep in a 48-page project, which unfortunately I can't really talk about because it's secret. But once it comes out, I will for sure be screaming it from the mountaintops because it's a really cool project. I am very happy to be here in this world with you people. I think it is one of the coolest things. And here, let's get into the class. Not just me gushing over how happy I am about life. So, I have some goals for this class. I have the tangible goal of creating 5 characters. So, you will learn not only my workflow, but like you will come out of this with physically 5 characters in your arsenal. We're going to create a lineup, not unlike this one from The Incredibles. Each of your characters will be distinct and unique. And you will leave with more than that. You will have the tools to create endless characters. I have an idea of this class where I'm going to provide you with a story, a setting, some reference, and characters that you're going to flesh out. But when you're done with that and you feel like, okay, here are my characters, I did the thing, I want you to go back and rewatch the class and just gather your own reference for it. Get your own story that you're following, create your own characters, or follow the characters of that story. Whatever it is, I want you to be able to do this endlessly and create different characters every single time. So you're not just going to have this is the stock big character and small character and slim character and short character. It's not just those. I want you to have a endless ability to mix and match all the different attributes, make these characters really feel like they are well figured out, personalized, thinking about, people in your life. There's no person who's just like, oh yeah, they're exactly like that person. No, they're all very distinct and unique. So, along with that, I want to create an organized workflow for you. So, if you ever feel lost in the idea of creating a character, if you're midway through and you just feel like this character isn't working, I'm not really sure why, you can lean on this organized workflow so that you have a logical step by step to get you out of that hole. So, that's this class in idea. And another idea I have for this class is how loose you're going to be. I want you guys to be loosey goosey, man, like you've been stretching for 5 days straight. I want you to think of these sketches from Heidi Smith from Paranorman. This is a wonderful example of how loose and thoughtful a project could be at the same time, where she clearly has an idea for each of these characters, but each of these sketches look like they take very little time. They're very loose. They're very fast. Like you could feel the energy in her arm when she's drawing them. These are not painstaking paintings that she really spent hours on. These are ideas rather than drawings. I think it was actually in a 3-Point Perspective podcast, which if you aren't listening to that, you should. It's on one of the tabs of SBS, that they mentioned that they're drawings and they're thinkings. And I want you guys to make making thinkings, which means they do not have to look good. In fact, they're going to look ugly. You're going to see a lot of my drawings in this course, and trust me, they are chicken scratch and they are not appealing. But the design behind them is. That's the entire point, is you are getting to the design, not the drawing. So I want you to let go of any idea that you're going to create these beautiful masterpieces. You're going to create awesome designs, not necessarily like a masterpiece of artwork. So to show you how these can be turned into a masterful piece of artwork, I want you to see the puppets that came from these sketches. How these were interpreted is pretty dang brilliant. This went through the filter of a sculptor called Kent Melton, and he is kind of a genius in the character design world. He's worked on a ton of different animated movies, and I think that him and Heidi Smith are a match made in heaven, because she pushes those designs to the nth degree and he translates them without losing that appeal. All right, so for you guys, what story are we going to be working on? I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat to figure it out. Well, I chose A Tale as Old as Time, Beauty and the Beast. If you don't know this movie or story, there is a fairy tale, and then there is a, of course, Disney animated film. There's also a French film that's more classic to the fairy tale portion of it. But there are so many things to say about this. Actually, I have gone through a lot of different stories of making characters based on this or that. I think I've done Wizard of Oz like 10 times at least. And I wanted to create or have you guys follow a story that was a little bit less traveled, even though it's been done for sure, but not in this way. So I want you to see some of the different iterations of it. Disney, of course, did the more recent live action take on it, which is kind of more fairy tale based one. Then there's the modern retelling where Beast has tattoos and scars. I just think that's so funny. And then, of course, Ron Perlman as a lion, because you got to have that. And then the CW take is always just going to be sexy people, but one has a scar, so ooh, he's Beast, bad boy. Once Upon a Time, very unique telling of it, and there is a play version of the Disney movie. So there are just all these different takes on it. I don't think any of you would probably land on exactly these kind of takes, so it's kind of fun to see them and see what other people are thinking. In the art world, there have been many different fan art iterations of these characters. Some of them more traditional to the Belle has a yellow dress, Beast has the horns and the blue. Then other ones are pretty out there with their tellings of them. They have like anime version, fashion version. Abigail Larson did the like Victorian era, so you could change up the time period and see what that gets you. And then there are like fairy tale renderings, more classical retellings, and they have this kind of classical feeling to them. It's funny how, I don't know, all of these different takes on them can be so varied and yet all feel like the same subject matter. That's what I want from you guys. So, talking about the characters, I have written down some ideas for you guys to follow. These are some of the main cast, Belle, Beast, Gaston, and then we get into more of the secondary cast with Maurice and Lumiere, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts. You can choose any of these characters, although I would highly recommend to start with Belle and Beast, just because having those main characters will make it instantly recognizable as this is Beauty and the Beast. And that really is the challenge, is figuring out how to have your own spin on it, which can be super unique, anything you want. But also having it be recognizable as Beauty and the Beast. And the way to do that is to keep these personalities similar. So Belle isn't some crazy, fiery, angry person. She's curious, caring, strong-willed. Beast isn't some like, "Oh, I'm so tiny and oh, sir, may I have some water?" No, he's proud, protective, and stubborn, So I want you to keep to the ideas of the character, the core personality traits of them, so that you can keep that consistent and everything else can change. So if you want to use these words, feel free. If you feel like there are better descriptive words, please use your own. And keep them with you at every stage of this process so that you don't forget this is what I'm designing for. Let's talk a little bit about setting next. So the setting for this one, I have chosen the exact same that the movies, basically like the fairy tale setting kind of has it in, late 1700s France. Now, this is mostly, I've got this reference board for you guys, by the way. So you will have all of these as your own reference, and I want you to keep them with you if you choose to go with this setting. But this is mostly costuming because a lot of the people look very similar. They're white. It's just a bunch of white people. And I don't want you to necessarily feel like you have to stick to that. We don't have to do that when we're designing our own characters. I mean, Hamilton is a great example. You don't have to have a bunch of white characters on there to tell a really compelling story. So this is a reference board for you to figure out what makes you feel like you're being true to this time period through your characters. Remember, you don't have to draw backgrounds or setting for them or anything like that. It's just the characters. So, you can go any direction with this. If you are willing to look up your own reference for it, I am willing to have you make it Beauty and the Beast in space, or modern day India, or African, or whatever you want. It could be under the sea. It could be, they're all baked goods, every single one of them. And then Marie, the baguette, hurry up. We'll have a different meeting. I don't know what, but it will. So to show you how far that can go, I also want you to see, like, you can gender bend it. You can make anything you want change about this project. And having said that, I want to give you your first assignment. You ready for this? I hope you are. So I want you to gather reference if you want to do something different. There's a caveat here. I want you to gather reference if you feel like you need it. If you feel like there's not enough here yet, please gather reference. But especially if you are changing the setting at all, gather reference. You have to. And I'm not saying that you have to do a bunch of it. You saw I had like 3 pages of it, not that much. You have the internet at your fingertips. You can do this. You can find reference and have it at your disposal. When you do it once, you can carry it with you the entire way through. And then secondly, I want you to sketch your initial ideas. This is just putting everything you're thinking right now onto paper so that you can feel like you're just starting. Like, I want you to just start and flow with every idea that comes into your head and really just put everything down. It doesn't have to be drawings. It can be writing down ideas. If you think of a song that fits the feeling that you're going for, write it down. Put anything you have in your head on paper right now, because this is the time to just have fun with it and figure out where you're going from here. And then I will see you back here for the next 4 sections, which are going to be shape, proportion, costuming, and details. And then we will have a full character lineup. Oh yeah. And I will see you back here for the next section. So see you then.